The required. You have 45 minutes. Guys, great exam technique is to read through every question so that you understand what is expected of you, and then start with the questions that you are most comfortable with. Very important to calculate how much time you have for each question so that you stick to that time to not allow yourself to be able to attempt every question. Okay, so required 1. With reference to the information obtained from the engagement background paragraph and the minutes of the planning meeting. So I've been limited to engagement, background paragraph, and the minutes of the planning meeting. I shouldn't go anywhere else. Discuss the matters to consider and the concerns CAC would have prior to accepting Zbox as an audit client. So, the matters to consider, these are the things that are relevant to the pre-engagement stage. And it's only the pre-engagement stage because they're saying the matters to consider prior to accepting. So anything that is relevant to the pre-engagement stage, I need to discuss here when I see it for Zbox and CAC, obviously, as auditors. And then, so once again, one element of my question. The second element is then the concerns. So now these are where there is non-compliance or any negative implications. With regards to the pre-engagement stage, what are they not doing, be it the client or CAC? Okay, so this question, I'm not limited just to the non-compliance. I need to look at the information question and see, is there anything there that shows me this section or this principle in the pre-engagement stage is relevant? And then where I can see that they are not complying with the principles per the standard, I can then discuss that as a concern. It's for 17 marks. I want to be giving about 17 points. So this is a big question. I do have 25 minutes here, so I want to make sure I'm spending the bulk of my time on this question because that's where most of the marks are. I don't want to be going over the 25 though. Okay, so what does that mean? My thought process, I need to do a quick analysis of what is required of me here, and what that means to me is I need to consider what happens in the pre-engagement stage, because that's what this question is specific to. They are going to accept a client. What should they have thought of, and where have they not thought of the implications if they do accept this client? So from my standard, I know I've got to consider the two parties to this equation. I've got to look at the auditors, and I need to look at the client. When it comes to the auditors, we need to make sure that we are competent. So I've got to make sure we've got the correct resources for this engagement and that there's sufficient time. In addition, I need to make sure they can comply with the ethical requirements from the CPC. When I look at the clients, I've got to look at their integrity. So are there any indications in the question that they may be lacking integrity, because that would be a concern. And then there are other factors to consider, like, can they pay the fee? Is the fee reasonable? Is that going to impact on our resources? And is there actually a vacancy? So because I understand the requirements of the pre-engagement stage, I can already put factors I need to be considering here. If you are not comfortable, you need to go to ISA 220, look at what is required from a pre-engagement stage, and have an idea jotted down here of what I should be looking for. Question 2. With reference to the information obtained from the engagement background paragraph and the minutes of the planning meeting. So once again, I have got 2 areas in which I can go to, and it's the same areas as the previous question. Identify the quality risks in the audit firm's acceptance of client relationships component of the system of quality management. So now it is the audit firm and the risks with regards to the acceptance of client relationships component of the system of quality management. So in a system of quality management, you have got, or they are 8 different components that each firm should have set methodology, set procedures on what needs to happen in order to ensure there is quality management within that component. One of those components is the acceptance and continuance of client relationships. So this question is asking you, what are the concerns or the non-compliance or the quality risks with regards to what ISQM1 says should be for the acceptance of clients' relationships component, and what are they doing to show they are not complying? Okay, they've asked for risks, so the risks is the negatives, the potential issues they could face. So because of the information in the question, I need to look at the audit firm's standards for acceptance of client relationships and see, what does ISQM1 say? What are they doing? Because if they are doing the opposite to what ISQM1 says, there is a quality risk there. So question 2 is only looking for the negatives, but we are looking at it from the firm's setting of their policy, their methods, their steps, their process for the acceptance of client relationships. So although the previous question has gone into what did they not consider for the specific engagement, which is then the actioning of the pre-engagement steps and the following of what the firm's method should be. Question 2 is now saying, step back from that. Let's pick up what the problems are with the firm's policy, because there are issues in the actual actioning of accepting that engagement. Okay, so I know that ISQM1 says from the firm's perspective, they have to make sure that you look at the client's integrity. And there's ways in which you could identify if the client is lacking integrity. You've got to look at the resources, the staff. Can they comply with the ethical requirements? Do they have the knowledge of the industry, of the regulations? Are they competent? And then it says you've got to look at the financial implications. Is the fee going to inhibit them being able to perform the engagement in the manner in which they should? So these are all methods or processes or structures that the firm should have put in place when they want to now go and decide should they actually accept a client or not. So this is the first step. This should have been done first before a partner was even considering an engagement. Okay, so let's start with question 1.